My goodness. The backlash on DiJonai Carrington. DiJonai Carrington is gone nuclear at this point.
It's starting to feel less like basketball and more like auditions for a contact sport that doesn't belong on a court. When elbows fly, hair gets yanked, and players are clawed across the face, you have to ask, is this the WNBA or something else entirely? In recent weeks, one player has become the face of this chaos. Not for her stats, not for her clutch plays, but for her growing reputation as the league's most dangerous presence on the floor, DiJonai Carrington.
Done things this season that will get her disqualified from MMA fights. She has done things this season that will get her disqualified from MMA fights. This is a bad look for the league. It is a bad look for the league that every game, the referees are turning a blind eye to something that would potentially get them disqualified from an MMA fight. This would have got her disqualified if she was in the octagon.
In just a few short weeks, Carrington has racked up more controversial plays than some players do in their entire careers. This isn't about physical defense or gritty competition. This is about something deeper. We're talking about flagrant fouls, reckless contact, and targeted aggression. And while fans are speaking out and replays are going viral, the WNBA has stayed silent. No suspensions, no fines, no accountability. So the question is, why? Why is the league protecting a player who's clearly crossed the line?
Check this out right here. As she grabs the player by the ponytail, yanks her to the ground.
Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers don't lie. DiJonai Carrington has been hit with 3 confirmed flagrant fouls in the span of just a month. That alone would be enough to get many players suspended or, at the very least, warned. But that's not the whole story. Analysts and fans have flagged 2 additional fouls, both captured clearly on camera, that were never officially penalized but were just as egregious. That makes 5 incidents in roughly 5 games. You don't need a statistician to tell you that's a pattern.
Claw to the eye. Hit to the head. Yank pull. And by the way, that's 3 of her last 5 games. Those 3 have happened in her last 5 games. She also undercut Skylar Diggins in those last 5 games. Getting Caitlin Clark in the eye. Getting Sabrina.
And this isn't your typical rough play. These are fouls with direct physical danger. Eye pokes, undercuts, slaps to the head. It's not just the volume of incidents, it's the nature of them. These aren't hustle plays gone wrong. They're moments of recklessness that have left players shaken and fans furious. So if the league has rules for protecting athletes, where are they now?
I mean, not only is the WNBA covering for players like this, they're doing these egregious things on the court that is not physical play. It's dirty play with a big fat D. Some of these players wouldn't know nothing about that. Anyway, with a big fat D, it's dirty. All right? And my God, and then when you call them out, the said player starts attacking fans.
Before we move on, a quick but important favor. If you're watching this and you're one of the thousands who haven't subscribed yet, now's your moment. This channel dives deep into the WNBA, breaking down the facts, exposing the narratives, and asking the questions others won't. If you want more unfiltered sports commentary that pulls no punches, hit that subscribe button, tap the like, and drop a comment. Your support makes all the difference, and it helps us shine a light where the league won't.
There is not a world
if she would have had extension
where that is not premeditated, pre-planned. She looked up. She said, "Oh, look at that!
Whoa!
Look at that ponytail. Yeah, let me yank. How about I keep it real? Let me yank the white girl to the ground. There we go. There, it's out."
Of all the fouls Carrington's been involved in lately, none sparked more fury than the now infamous hair pull. It happened in the 3rd quarter of a heated game between the Dallas Wings and the Los Angeles Sparks. In what looked more like a schoolyard scuffle than a professional basketball match, Carrington reached out and grabbed Sarah Ashley Barker by the ponytail, yanking her violently to the floor. It wasn't subtle, it wasn't debatable, it was blatant, and the arena went silent in shock.
DiJonai, DiJonai, you're always in a dirty play. DiJonai, DiJonai, Once again, here we are today. Oh, DiJonai.
Replay after replay showed the same thing. A deliberate, forceful pull that left Barker crashing to the hardwood. Fans were stunned. Commentators were speechless. One analyst joked, if those were extensions, they'd be on the floor right now. But the league's response? A loose ball foul. Not a flagrant, not a technical, just a mild, meaningless call that suggested nothing out of the ordinary happened. That's when the real backlash began. Fans weren't just angry at Carrington anymore. They were angry at the system that allowed her to walk away with a slap on the wrist.
But I think a referee knowingly allowing and turning a blind eye to players putting other players in danger should never be allowed to ref again. And I think this is just like the Kennedy Carter tip check last year. The referees, and this is the worst about this, they saw it and did nothing about it.
This single moment ripped the mask off the WNBA's claim to protect its players. Because if a hair pull, an unmistakable, premeditated act, doesn't get flagged as dangerous, what does? And if officials can watch that replay and still refuse to act, then it's not just Carrington who's under scrutiny, it's the entire structure around her.
Look, I don't condone fighting on the court, but this team has a real issue. This league has a real issue getting their own teammates' backs. It feels like so many of these players are all out for themselves, and it is wild.
Just when the furor around the hair pull began to simmer, Carrington made headlines again, this time for something even more unsettling. During a routine play, she reached across Caitlin Clark's face, grazing her eye in a way that sent shockwaves through the league. This wasn't a scramble for the ball. It wasn't an incidental tap. It was a direct swipe, caught on camera, slowed down frame by frame, showing exactly what happened. And Clark? She immediately grabbed her face in pain.
Criticism justified. Get her off the court. Hey, this person, Kathy Engelbert, you're the problem. Since you seem to think this kind of play is acceptable, not to this play, but many others, you should be held accountable when someone is seriously injured. And it's going to happen. Carrington is reckless, and there's plenty of video that shows. There's plenty of evidence.
Carrington later claimed it was accidental, saying she didn't even know she hit Clark, but no one was buying it. The footage told a different story. Her fingers extended just enough, her timing just too perfect to pass off as coincidence. Sports networks replayed the incident across every major platform. Social media exploded with reactions, many of them calling it a deliberate act, a targeted hit, and proof that Carrington was becoming more dangerous by the game.
DiJonai Carrington, you are the dirtiest dirtbag of them all. Dirty play, DiJonai Carrington. DiJonai, dirty play, Carrington. We can even turn it into a song.
This wasn't just any player being swiped at. This was Caitlin Clark, the WNBA's golden ticket, the rookie phenom drawing in record viewers and new fans by the millions. And she was being targeted right in the open, while the league's response remained non-existent. It begged the question, what's it going to take for the WNBA to step in? A serious injury?
She has been on a crime spree. That's right, folks. She has been on a crime spree, robbing the WNBA blind, masquerading as a professional basketball player, when in reality, she is just a reckless athlete that understands the concept of basketball.
The outrage didn't stay on YouTube or Twitter. It swept across Reddit threads, Facebook groups, and radio call-ins. Every fan with eyes saw what happened, and for once, the WNBA's usual silence couldn't drown out the noise. The internet was on fire. Clips of Carrington's plays were stitched together into highlight reels, not of brilliance, but of brutality. And the question on everyone's lips? How is this still happening?
Grab onto something, realized it was the hair, and yanked. She yanked, she went back down faster as soon as she grabbed the hair. Like, come on. Like, at what stage does the WNBA have to step in? Because the WNBA are rescinding technical fouls on a player who should already be suspended. DiJonai Carrington has committed 4 blatant flagrant fouls this year, and 1 that was 50-50 that got rescinded.
Former players joined the conversation, Analysts voiced their concerns on national TV, and even casual viewers who normally stayed quiet were now shouting from the sidelines. This wasn't about rivalry anymore. It was about accountability. Commentators compared Carrington's actions to past offenders in other leagues, athletes who got suspended for less. Some even said the WNBA was protecting her to avoid controversy, but in doing so, they created something far worse, a credibility crisis.
As everyone else is seeing this angle, I'm calling her in and I'm saying to her, I need answers.
Because when rules aren't enforced and safety isn't guaranteed, you don't just lose the game, you lose the fans. And the fans were making it clear, they're not going to keep watching if dirty play is allowed to thrive.
Caitlin Clark was so lucky with how hard she got hit in the eye. She was so lucky. And by the way, I still believe DiJonai Carrington tried to hit Caitlin Clark in the head.
By this point, it was impossible to ignore. DiJonai Carrington had gone from an aggressive defender to a recurring headline. Not for achievements, but for behavior. She now leads the league in flagrant fouls, an ugly title that no athlete wants. Yet somehow, with each new foul, the league has looked the other way. Not a single fine, not a single game suspension. Just silence. It's not just puzzling, it's suspicious.
When you went and kind of swatted at Caitlin, did you intend to hit her in the eye? And if so, could you just, or if not, either way, could you talk about what happened on that play?
I don't even know why I would intend to hit anybody in the eye. That doesn't even make sense to me. But no, I didn't. I didn't know I hit her, actually. I was trying to make a play on the ball, and I guess I followed through and I hit her. So obviously it's never intentional. That's not even like the type of player that I am.
Because the WNBA does have rules. Accumulate too many flagrants, and you're supposed to be automatically suspended. That's the policy. And yet, Carrington has blown past that threshold and faced zero consequences. Fans have started wondering out loud, is she being protected? If it were any other player, anyone without connections or a narrative to uphold, would this be happening?
We've now got normal NBA fans. You have got normal NBA fans, like, talking about DiJonai Carrington.
League Commissioner Kathy Engelbert's name keeps coming up, and not in a good way. Critics say her refusal to address Carrington's actions publicly has made things worse. Transparency builds trust, but silence, that builds resentment. The deeper fans dig, the more they believe this isn't just about missed calls. It's about a league trying to protect its image by shielding one of its own, no matter the cost. If there's one player the WNBA should be protecting right now, it's Caitlin Clark. She's not just a rookie, she's a phenomenon. The kind of once-in-a-generation talent that brings millions of eyeballs to the sport. Her jersey sales are off the charts. Her games are breaking viewership records. She's bringing more attention to the WNBA than any other player in the last decade. And yet she's being targeted on the court and left vulnerable.
It is a very relevant topic because now you have got posts going viral in the general basketball world, and this type of stuff is just a bad look for the league. It is a bad look for the league. It is. This type of stuff is a bad look for the league.
From getting elbowed to being shoved to the ground, Clark has taken a beating. And while she rarely reacts, the bruises are real. Fans see it. Commentators talk about it. Everyone feels it, except apparently the people running the league. If anything were to happen to her, if she were seriously injured because the WNBA failed to act, it wouldn't just be a scandal. It would be an existential crisis.
Engelbert, you're the problem. Since you seem to think this kind of play is acceptable, not to this play, but many others, you should be held accountable when someone is seriously injured. And it's going to happen.
Because Clark represents the future of this league. And if the WNBA doesn't step in to protect that future, what kind of message does that send? That recklessness wins? That bad behavior goes unchecked as long as it's passionate? The optics are terrible, and every incident chips away at the goodwill Clark's presence has generated.
Literally, the referee saw her take someone out in the air, went to the monitors, was like, this is a dangerous play, it's a flagrant, and they overruled the refs on the monitors. The league has literally, the league are putting players in danger. The league does not care about player safety. They don't care about player safety. And by the way, why would DiJonai care about player safety? Why would she care if the league doesn't care? The legal defender, anything negative said about DiJonai Carrington in the media, anything negative, you're going to see a post from the WNBA saying, we call BS about this thing. Anything negative in the media about DiJonai Carrington, the WNBA are going to make a post. The WNBA are going to make a post.
Carrington's defenders say she plays with intensity, but intensity isn't an excuse for recklessness. There's a line, and she's crossed it again and again. Hair pulls, eye pokes, undercuts, late hits. It's a reel of dangerous conduct. Other leagues, like the NBA, the NFL, even the UFC, have clearer boundaries. If a play endangers another athlete, suspension follows. The WNBA has those same rules on paper. The problem is, they're not being enforced.
We do not, you can see with DiJonai Carrington, she does not have the greatest body control. She does not have good enough body control to hit someone in the eye. But I do think that she tried to smack Caitlin Clark in the head. The referee, no call. No call. Common foul. No call on the undercut of Gabby Williams. No call on the hit to Sabrina.
Some analysts have gone further, saying the only way to restore faith in the league is a season-long suspension, or even a ban. That might sound extreme, until you look at the pattern. These aren't isolated incidents. They're part of a larger trend of disregard for player safety. Carrington isn't just towing the line, she's erasing it. And if the league doesn't respond soon, they'll look complicit.
By the way, if the referees just did their jobs, DiJonai Carrington would have a one-game suspension, right? If the referee and the league did their jobs, DiJonai Carrington, and not for just this. And by the way, there are sports leagues in the world that, with this replay going out, will give her a one-game suspension. The NBA is one. If the referees missed it in real time, and something like this started going, not even semi-viral, but went around the league, and they're like, you know what, it's actually putting a player in danger. It's a one-game suspension.
Imagine any other job where repeated endangerment of your colleagues goes unpunished. That would never fly in the corporate world. Why should professional sports be any different? Accountability doesn't end at the scoreboard. It extends to the way players respect each other and the rules that govern them.
Again, if it's a disqualification in the MMA, it should be a disqualification in the WNBA. Just my opinion. If it's a disqualification in MMA, it should be a disqualification in the WNBA.
At the end of the day, this story isn't just about DiJonai Carrington. It's about the integrity of the WNBA itself. A league that claims to stand for fairness, empowerment, and respect, yet allows this kind of behavior to go unchecked. Each time they turn a blind eye, they're not just ignoring a foul. They're undermining their own values. And fans notice. The comments aren't slowing down. Clips of Carrington's hits are still going viral. Headlines are growing sharper. Viewers are getting louder. The league has a choice. Enforce the rules and send a message, or risk losing the trust of the very fans who've been fighting for this sport to succeed. Because once fans believe the game is rigged, or that safety is optional, they stop watching, they stop caring. And if you've made it this far into the video, here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you think Carrington deserves a suspension? Should the WNBA finally speak up? Hit that like button, subscribe to stay in the loop, and share this video with someone who needs to see it. Because the clock is ticking, and silence isn't just complicity anymore. It's a choice.